Hey guys, I got the Panasonic Lumix G7 here and the Canon Rebel EOS T7i. I could stand here and tell you the differences between these two cameras all day, but instead of doing that, I think I'm just going to show you. The first thing that you're going to notice as soon as you look at these cameras, you're going to pick it up, you're going to put it up to your eye, and here's what you're going to see when you look at the DSLR, the Canon, or any DSLR. You see that image? It moves with you. It's exactly what you're looking at in front of you here. Okay? Right. Now let's come over to here. Now look here. This is the mirrorless, the Panasonic, and this does play a role for sure in how they function. That's why I'm talking about this. See this little thing right here? That's a sensor. Now on the mirrorless camera, let's just look. Now look at that display. Completely different, totally bright. So here, let's go there. Now let's come back over here. See that? Smaller, not as bright. This one here. Now here's what the difference is here, folks. This here is called an EVF, an electronic viewfinder. Now what that's doing is it's taking the image from here and electronically throwing it up into there, and that's what we are looking at right here. That's an electronic image. So let me take a picture. There, did you hear that? I just took another picture and another one. So there's another difference. There is no sound. You can go totally silent with the mirrorless. So automatically, right off the bat, two huge differences. One is you got an EVF, an electronic viewfinder, that's taking the image, throwing it up here for you to see electronically. So here, let's look through here again. And as you see, now let's take a picture. You hear that? So that's the shutter working, lifting up the mirror in there to allow the picture to be taken, and there you go. You can't silence that. So that's the first difference right off the bat you're going to notice. As soon as you pick this up, this is going to have a much brighter display because it's a electronic image that's being thrown up, that's coming through here. This here, you're actually seeing what you're looking at out here. It's coming through the camera body, hitting this. Here, let's take this off. Here, it's coming in here, it's hitting this mirror and being shot up into the viewfinder. So that's the biggest difference right there, right off the bat, between these two cameras and how they function. Here you go, guys. See, there's the mirror and there's the sensor. The sensor here is actually behind the mirror. The mirror would come up, and then the light would go in and hit the sensor. Okay, with the mirror on, it shoots up. This is shoots back into the viewfinder, so you are seeing real live. So that's it, mirrorless and DSLR. Those are the differences in the actual build of it. Okay, so let's go over this other huge difference here in functionality, which is why these things are so different. Okay, let's look through here. Now that's what we see, right? I'm going to make some major adjustments here and so that's what we see. And I took a picture, and that's what this picture looks like. Obviously that is not what we just looked at in the viewfinder, right? Okay, so now let's look into here and see what we see. Now as you can see here, this picture does not match what we're looking at here, right? It's really dark. So what this does is the mirrorless camera actually shows you what the picture is going to look like as you're taking it, whereas the DSLR shows you what you're looking at. And you're not seeing exactly the picture you're taking, because the DSLR is just sending the image that's already, or the mirrorless, I'm sorry, is sending the image that you're looking at electronically up into the viewfinder, and you're just getting a preview of what the picture is going to look like, whereas the DSLR is obviously showing you a live view through glass. So one is completely different than the other, and that definitely plays a role in the functionality of the two. So let's go over some of the bigger differences while you're shooting with it. Okay, right off the bat, if you look up here, you're going to notice you've got one major dial here, and that changes. As you see here, that'll change this, or if you push here, it'll change your aperture. So you've got to actually push a button to change your shutter speed and your aperture toggle to toggle between them, and then another button here to change your ISO. Now on the Panasonic, you've got two buttons here that you can use simultaneously to change both. So that's quite a difference there. That's pretty cool. Now I've been out using it. It is difficult to remember which one does what because I've been using this one for so long, but that is a nice feature. I could see definitely the advantages of that. And then to change your ISO settings here, you just hit this and it's just like any other. You just toggle through there and you have push the shutter and you're right back. So those are some features that are quite a bit different in that. Let's see, is it picking it up? There it goes. So this is the viewfinder in the Panasonic. And here again, like I've showed you before, but I want to do it in video. This is another one of the huge differences between the two companies. And because one's a mirrorless, one's a DSLR, what we're looking at here is a electronic viewfinder, which is super bright, super clear and crisp. However, in some situations, it's got a lot of motion blur. Like I'm moving this around fairly quickly here and it is not keeping up. It's kind of lagging. Now I'm going to go to the Canon. Now let's go directly into the Canon. Maybe if I took that off first, that would help. Okay, now let's come over here. Put that in shooting mode. Let's set it to auto. And let's take it off the tripod here. There we go. Now let's set this up. Okay. Where are you at? Oh, wait a minute. That's right. You cannot shoot video through the viewfinder on the Canon because there's a mirror in the way. And when it's shooting video on the Canon, it's shooting basically live mode where the mirror that's in there flips up and it's basically turns it into a mirrorless camera to shoot the video. Okay, so there is a huge difference between the two cameras right there. Mirrorless, you can shoot video through the viewfinder if you'd like. DSLR, you cannot. You have to use this back screen. The mirrorless definitely has an advantage there in my opinion. Alright, let's keep it moving. Okay, so I notice a lot of times that when I go to zoom on the Panasonic, that my fingers catch the focal ring here. So instead of zooming, I'm changing the focal ring. And that's really annoying. I wish that was had a little more distance. Kind of like this is the Canon kit lens here. Oh, by the way, this is the 14 by 140. This is the 18 by 55. I'm just using the kit lenses. This is the better one of the Panasonic. But anyways, the focus ring's a little further down than the zoom ring. So I don't find myself hitting this. And that's true of all the Canon lenses that I own. There's more of a gap between these rings. So that definitely plays a factor when you're using these two. Alright, so let's take a look at the differences between the menus here. Now for starters, the menu button on the Canon is up here in the top left. For the Panasonic is right there. And as you'll notice here right off the bat, the Panasonic is vertical with their options. The Canon is horizontal. Okay, but they do have similar functions as you can see here. Settings with a wrench, camera settings with the camera icon. And I will say that the Panasonic has, in my opinion, slightly more confusing menu options with a lot more menu options. Like here, these settings have 9 different, as you can see here, 1-9, they have 9 different screens to sort through. Just playback's got 4. This wrench here's got 5. So Canon's seems to be a little more simple, a little easier to maneuver through. So let's talk about ease of use here, and which one is easier to use right out of the box, and which one probably would require a lot more digging through the menus. The Canon comes with an option right here. Now this has the option, the Canon does, as I just showed you how to get there. It is a very basic screen that walks you through the option no matter what you go to in a very colorful, creative way, and it's very easy and self-explanatory, where the Panasonic doesn't. This is kind of like an easy mode for beginners who have never touched a camera. It's a great little feature. Panasonic does not have that. Okay, I don't even know if they have anything close to it. Now they do have it where if you get into some things, it will tell you, let's see if I can find it. Some of these options you can get in there and it'll kind of walk you through. If you tap on it, see here, it'll tell you what to do as you tap on the options. Like here, press shutter at start, stop and record. So it'll give you, you know, here it'll tell you, it'll walk you through the options, but this will actually show you. So let's see, close up here, that'll give you the on-screen thing. And then here it'll tell you what to do. It just walks you through the whole process. Brightness, adjust image brightness, and it'll tell you. So here, see how blatantly obvious this is in like big picture format for like a child? Huge difference between the two. All right. So let's move it along into some other key differences. Now another fairly interesting difference here, let me scoot this back a hair, are these dials. If you look up here, this has two dials to set the different modes. Over here you'll see this has kind of the self-timer built in up here on the left. That's what this is, self-timer, 4K, different drive modes. It also has a panoramic mode. This is the Panasonic G7. It has a panoramic mode. Okay, so let's tip this back down here and compare the auto modes. Right here, the auto mode on the Panasonic is labeled IA. On the, let's see if we can see this. Okay, right here on the Canon, you're going to come up here. The green one is for auto with flash. Now this is the auto without flash. And then here's the CA Creative Auto. We're going to get to that in just a second. So here, auto and auto. Okay, so on the Panasonic here, you have options, as you can see right here, to change any of these that are slightly brighter. So I don't know if you can see on here in this lighting, but for example, you can change your image quality. You can go RAW, you can go RAW plus JPEG. You can change all those image qualities there. Here you can also change your aspect ratio. You can go 16:9, you can go 3:2, all of that. And then now again, this is still in auto mode. So the Panasonic allows you to make some changes on screen in auto mode, whereas the Canon, you have to go back into your menu options to make a lot of those changes. You can't necessarily do it directly on here on the back screen. Just another difference in the manufacturers, you know, basically what they decided to put on there. However, there is, like I said, that CA mode. Let's come up here. Creative Auto on the Canon, that dial right here. Now you just unlocked a bunch of modes, actually a bunch of features that allow you to change colors. Now here you can change your colors, intense, warm, soft, cool, vivid, your shooting styles, basically, or your color schemes, I guess is what you'd call it. And you can adjust your flash, and you can blur your background. So this has the auto mode, and on here it would be labeled AI Plus. So let's hit the menu and let me show you. So there's another big difference between these two cameras while you're shooting in manual mode. So over here on the Panasonic, you have a few more options here. As you can see, it goes into basically every setting imaginable is all right here. Where on the Canon, you can see here, you only have a few options here, the basic options. You can change some autofocus, that's a self-timer. But you come over here, I mean, you can change everything over here. So here, as you can see here, your Wi-Fi. So there's another big difference between the two. The Panasonic tends to have a lot more options that you can tinker with, even in manual mode, versus the Canon. The Canon software is much more user-friendly, I believe, and it's simpler to get to certain things. I had no problem with this. Now I am biased. I've had the Canon for a while, and I've only had this for a little while, and I've been using this, and it is quite different. Okay guys, so that's it. Mirrorless, Panasonic G7, DSLR, Canon T7i. Hopefully this video helped you determine which one you may like better, or if you didn't know, maybe you're just curious about the style, what's the difference between them. There you go. And both of them give pretty good results. And you know, like anything, these are tools. How you use them, it makes a bigger difference than actually what they are, I think, because you know, as everybody knows, anybody who knows what they're doing with a cheap camera can usually yield pretty good results. But yeah, they're both really fun to use, and I don't know, I just wanted to show you, because I could sit here and tell you all day what the differences are, but I wanted to show you so you can make up your own mind. Maybe this will help you going forward, or maybe you're just curious right now and you see this guy's still a good deal, but you really love Canon like I do. I'm a little biased, can't lie. But yeah, that's it. Alright guys, thanks for watching. And if you are curious about any of these, their prices or whatever, I will link them in the description below so you can check those out. I know the prices on this guy keep fluctuating. This one's staying pretty steady. Also the SL2, I'll put that in there too. That's this guy's basically a very similar camera to this, but it's a couple $100 cheaper. And it's got a few features that are not quite as robust as this, which if you look at their spec sheet, it'll show you. But that's a great option as well if you're looking to stay in this camera line and you're looking to go cheaper, which everybody is always. Who doesn't want to save money? Alright guys, thanks for watching. See you later.